Dick for the Man here. I dislike talking about political issues, but when I see people not being as skeptical as they could be, I feel compelled to respond, even though it's brushing up against political issues. Um, People have a lot of feelings about what's going on, and I set aside those feelings and I just look to what are the facts and what truth do those facts bear out. When examining videos online, context is very important. When looking at news reports, we have to acknowledge that the news has not necessarily the function of reporting what's going on in mind, but might have the we want to make money in as their goal. Now, maybe they can do both. Not saying anything, not making conspiracy here, but news outlets are driven by profits. So they have an incentive to sensationalize the news rather than necessarily report on every single thing that's going on with all the nuance that you would want. Again, not in every case. There might not be, this isn't like, well, it's black or white. It's nuanced. So here's a video, here's samples of videos that show stuff going on that I don't like. And they are selected segments taken from larger news broadcasts or people videoing, putting it, on the internet. And we only get part of the context, not the full context. I have been watching police channel, Midwest Safety. I've been watching Midwest Safety for a while. And there's certain patterns that you notice as you watch more of these videos. And at first I thought, oh man, these cops, they're overreacting to stuff. And sometimes you can sometimes yes. But by and large, you do see certain patterns emerge. One pattern is people will claim to have all sorts of injuries. I can't breathe. My leg is broken. I'm pregnant. I have whatever disease. I just need a drink. I just need some water. Just give me a moment. All these things that people will say to try to delay the arrest and or try to distract the police. This one guy asked for a drink and he tried to get to his bedroom where there was a gun. And when they allowed him to start to get this drink, they're like, no. We know you're doing something funny. So police learn from their training and from real life what to do and what not to do, what to ignore and what not to ignore. And I'm very nervous talking about this because it involves the ICE. ICE are police. They are there to do a function. Whether you agree with that function or not is independent of what their function is. And they have similar, if not the same, training, I would suspect, and I could be wrong, as normal police do. Are they more forcible than normal police? Maybe, maybe not. But when I see several different clips as examples of some phenomenon going on that people don't like, and then it gets turned into this is an example of fascism, that conclusion isn't necessarily warranted by the data available. The laws whether you agree with them or not, currently are illegal citizens go wherever country they are from. So, if you are in or around the area where ICE is operating and you are told to leave the area, leave the area. But I want to protect. No, you are told to leave the area. But I want to record. You are told to leave the area. Leave the area. You are not news. You are now obstructing their investigation and operation. You could go to jail for doing that. I've seen that happen on normal police videos. Sometimes they'll let people film from a safe distance that they determine. As long as you obey their orders, whether you like their orders or not is, again, set to the side. If you think they're doing something wrong and you're filming them and you're filming all the context, you go to the police and you report it. And maybe something will be done, maybe not, but you must work within the system, whether you like the system or not. This is the system we have. If we want these laws to change, then the only way to do that is to change the laws. So, what I've seen in these clips, and I didn't watch every single one, but I watched a few of them, was cherry-picked data that I cannot rely on. I don't know the full information of the situation, and in many cases, it is impossible to figure out what that full information is. But what I do see is people resisting arrest. What I do see is people interfering with investigation. People refusing to leave an area when they are told to leave by the authorities. Again, whether you like the authorities or not, or agree with what they are doing, if you do not cooperate, you will potentially find yourself being arrested. Now, if you cooperate with that arrest, you shouldn't get injured, but injury can and does happen, and that's unfortunate. But you got yourself into that position by doing what you were told not to do. Once upon a time, I was in the military, and we were explained, if you are given an order and you don't like it, you follow it, and then you report it. Now, I wondered, well, what if you thought that that order was illegal order? And I asked that, and I said, what if it's an illegal order? They said, well, if you absolutely know it's illegal, yeah, you could probably not follow it, but you are putting yourself at risk for court martial and things like that. And depending on the situation, not following that order might cost lives, even if it's absolutely the right thing to do. So it's difficult to make that decision. But basically, follow the order, then complain about it. Now, I didn't necessarily trust the chain of command every time, even though we were told to use it. And I saw it work, but I also saw times where it felt like it wasn't working and that the system didn't seem fair to me. But I'm a lowly peon. I'm one cog in the machine. Once I was out, I could see a little bit better of the bigger picture and say, okay, I get it. I get what they were doing. I get where I was coming from and where they were coming from. And I was still in training and I wasn't yet in the job that I was going to do. And then when I wound up doing a different job, I saw that I wasn't learning on the job as they intended me to do. And that's why I kept having so many problems, because I wasn't listening to what they told me to do. I kept asking questions and bucking against the system. So I say all that because when we see people getting hauled away to jail. We see people getting injured, and we see news reports of this going on. We might have certain feelings about this. I don't like that this is happening. I don't want this to happen. I understand that feeling, but it is happening. What can you do? You can uphold the law. What does that mean? If you find yourself in or near a police or ICE or FBI or CIA or whatever federal thing, military thing, and somebody in a uniform says, don't go there, then don't go there, because there might be all sorts of dangers that will be created by you doing that. They might not have the time or resources to deal with you. And so we have to be careful when they tell us to do or not do something. And so regarding this particular short that was shared to me, I don't like shorts. Well, I say shared to me. Well, it appeared on my algorithm, and it is somebody I'm subscribed to. So I watched it. Usually I avoid shorts because I don't like shorts. But in this case, I looked at it and I saw the comment or the name of the video. And so I wondered about it because he said, well, I'll play the video because I feel like I'm dancing around. Okay, so, and hopefully this doesn't ruin some friendship or whatever, but I gotta be skeptical, and I gotta teach people how to be skeptical. And that is atheists as well. We are just as susceptible as anyone else. Okay. That's not what.
Has anyone here watched or seen news where they show women being thrown on the ground and tossed into a van by masked men with guns? Is that going on in America?
Okay, so is X situation occurring in America? Well, America is a pretty big place, so might need to want to narrow that down a bit. And what is the situation where this is happening? And what men? And I don't know why it would matter if they're men or women wearing masks. Why are they wearing masks? What's going on? A lot of questions come to mind.
Please tell me yes or no in the comments. Is that going on in America? And is that an appropriate way to treat a woman who is here illegally?
Okay, is it appropriate or inappropriate to treat anybody, setting aside woman or man, in this fashion? Well, if they are doing something illegal, then it depends. Did they cooperate with the authorities or did they resist? If they resist, then they will be then force will be applied to make them compliant. If they don't resist, then then they shouldn't have any problem. I noticed there was quotes around illegal as if this is in question. Now, if somebody is detained and they're not here illegally, I would hope that there'd be hell to pay for that. But it might not happen. There might be a miscarriage of justice, and that would be something to get upset about. That would truly be something to march about and protest and try to fix, because that is an injustice. But if we're talking about somebody, woman or man or child, young or old, whatever, that is doing something illegal just by being here, again, whether we agree with that or not, and these authority figures are doing what they're supposed to do, which is their job is get this person, they are here illegally, put them in the the van or the bus or the train or the plane or whatever, and send them on their merry way back to wherever the bleep it is. Again, I don't necessarily agree with this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Whatever the stance is, the answer to this somewhat loaded question is it depends. If the person resists, then yes, the appropriate way to handle that does seem to be the training that police and perhaps ICE get in regards to how to deal with people that resist arrest. Could we change that? Sure. Perhaps there's a different way to do it. I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I haven't gotten that training. I haven't attempted to do other techniques. Perhaps we could build a portable cage and simply lower the cage onto the person and close it from the bottom. That way, their resistance is irrelevant. I forget if Asia somewhere, I forget, China or Japan does this, but they have these long sticks with rounded ends, and they kind of push people where they want them. That might work, or maybe it might not work. I don't know. Different techniques can be attempted and see what works and what doesn't. And we're going to have to then provide the funding to train people on that rather than just say, hey, no, fix it. Well, what do you okay, that's how, are you willing to front the money to fix it? Again, these are, these are the things. So, so at any rate, so I think that's where I watched the video. So is it being done correctly? My answer is depends on the situation. And I think that there was more to comment on. I'm not sure. I'm going to play the rest.
Okay. Is that appropriate? Yes or no?
Well, it's not a yes or no because, again, it depends upon the situation.
Has anyone...
Okay, so then it repeats because it's a short. So then I said, I don't know what you're talking about, so could I get citations? But I said it as links. And then several links were shared. So I did what, normally I would never do, but I did ask for it. So I went to the first link. It's another short. And so, well, here's the problem. It's it's NBC News, and I don't know the full context of this. So I don't know necessarily what's going on per se, but I can tell you what I observe, which is I'm ignoring what they write on their screen because I don't care what they're saying happened. I'm watching what's happening. Okay, so I see somebody in what looks to be a uniform. I see another person that I'm assuming is in a uniform, and I see a third person in a uniform. Okay, and they're shouting and yelling.
Brenda Valencia.
And now they're reporting over it, so they're saying things. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, I don't know. It appears that this woman is being detained. Why is she being detained? I don't know. She does appear to be resisting arrest. Right there, she's not putting her hands behind her back. Okay, now she finally put her hands behind her back, and they're saying whatever that's going on after the fact. Okay, she's resisting some more, so now force is being applied because she is resisting arrest. That's what's going on. All right, so she finally stops resisting. They pick her up, and they make sure to get her stuff, and they take her off. Okay, so that's one video down, and several more to go because, all right, let's go to the next one. All right, sure. Let's make sure, because I'm, I don't want to be accused of not checking all the information. So another news clip. So again, now this isn't a short, but it is a short video. I don't know the full context of it. And so I don't know everything that there is to know about this situation, nor do I know how much I should or shouldn't trust this news organization to report it. So I'm going to apply skepticism, as I do with everything.
Trying to go to work, and several
Okay, so it's people talking about stuff. All right, whether or not that's true, I don't know. So let's skip to what I can verify. Okay, some gal's just standing there. Do we have video of the incident? Because that's all that matters. Just give me the incident. Don't tell me. Okay, so here we go. Body cam footage. All right, finally. So they are wearing masks. Now, I don't know why they're wearing masks. No idea. Okay, so what's going on here?
A new movie.
Okay, they're talking about what's going on. Okay, so she appears to be resisting. And so because she's resisting, force is being applied. And then we're showed protesters. Back to the clip. Okay, she's still resisting, so force is being applied. She's resisting, force is being applied. She's resisting, force is being applied, etc. Okay, so nothing out of the ordinary there. Let's go to the next citation here. And we'll look at that. All right. All right. Okay, graphics. Okay, so police are grabbing her. She is not compliant. She is fighting. She is not cooperating. And so force is being applied. Okay, and she's still fighting them, and everybody else is not obeying them to stay out of the way. So they're causing more problems for them. And so force is being applied. She is fighting them. She is not letting go of whatever that object is. And so they have put her on the ground so that they can get her in handcuffs and do whatever they need to do. All these onlookers are not helping the situation. They're just making it worse because they are not complying and making everything more difficult for the officers involved. Okay, so she finally starts to comply, and as soon as she starts to comply, the force is less, and they take her into custody. So nothing out of the ordinary here. Okay, let's go to the next clip. And we're going to keep doing this until I'm out of clips. And I'm waiting for the point where I see something that should be disturbing. So far, nothing but people that are not complying and getting exactly what everybody else gets when they don't comply. All right, another short. And this is from somebody, so it could be cherry picked for all I know. They're talking about a thing. They're talking, okay, is there any footage for me to actually look at, or is it just somebody's story? Doesn't appear to be any footage there, so I consider that as a testimonial and thus irrelevant. The same way that I would consider somebody telling me that they experienced God as testimony and irrelevant. That's skepticism in action. That's what I do. I'm a skeptic. That's how it works. Okay, another clip. Okay, or another video. Let's go to that. Oopsie. Okay, that didn't copyright. Let me make sure here. Okay, so make sure I'm showing the correct thing on the screen. Okay, another short. So again, cherry pick data. Don't know what's going on. Don't know the full context. Okay, can we see body cam footage? They don't want to die in Honduras. I don't want to die. Okay, well, I don't know that you're going to die there, but okay, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. But what I have seen from people that go to jail is they will say all sorts of things to try to not go to jail. What she's saying might very well be true, or it could be false. I don't know at all. I have no way to know one way or the other. What I do know is apparently she's here illegally and they're sending her back to where she came from. And if she dies because of that, that would be very sad. And it is something that we need to think about in regards to, deporting people and what might happen to them. Hopefully, our relationship with that country is such that we can guarantee the safety of these people that we're returning to these countries. But again, that's politics, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just here to see whether or not this is fascism. Okay, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. If you're talking, you're breathing. This is a typical tactic used by people going to jail all the time. I hear it constantly. If you watch any police videos long enough, you will see people claim that they can't breathe. So that means nothing, and they're ignoring it, and she's resisting. And so they're applying force because she's resisting. Okay, they got her in. The other person somewhat resisting, so they're not applying too much force. She's trying to pull away, so they're applying force, and then they get her in. Okay, so everything proceeding as normal here. All right, so I wanted to know where they were wearing masks, where people were being tossed onto the ground, and I explained in my comment that I've watched a lot of police videos, and I assume that from those videos I know what's going on, which is that people are resisting, and that if you resist, force is applied. But I see nothing in these links other than people resisting, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be seeing here. This is fascism. I don't see that. I see people resisting, and what happens to them is the same that happens to anyone else that resists. Doesn't look like I don't know. That's not. I mean, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to get to the conclusion that that's fascism. 9-month pregnant citizen being captured here with men with masks. You mean by ICE people? Captured? What do you mean by captured? You mean arrested by ICE? And I don't know why the ICE wear masks. Perhaps they had issues with people pepper spraying them, and so they've decided to wear masks. Let's see this particular clip so I can make sure that nothing is going on in this clip that looks like fascism. Okay, she's in a bed. She's getting care in a hospital for whatever injuries she received. Okay, I'm sure she can, sue and whatnot. Here it is. She's getting arrested. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's see. Okay, well, okay, they've got her in custody. Don't see anything out of the unusual so far. She claimed to be pregnant. They can't verify that on the time. Okay, she starts fighting a little bit, but not too much. They're applying minimal force, looks like to me. Okay, they are wearing masks again. Maybe they're undercover. Maybe there's worry about pepper spray, or sometimes people spit or other bodily fluids. There might be all sorts of reasons why they're wearing masks. I'm not sure why that's relevant or not, but okay. I guess you might find it disturbing that they're wearing masks, but there's probably a reason for it, Okay, so they're telling somebody to go away, they're not listening, and back to that, and she's getting pulled off rather nicely. And so I don't see excessive force being used when she's cooperating, and I don't really know what happened to her that got her injured, but doesn't look like anything out of the unusual now. Because again, this is somebody that I respect. I will continue to watch clips until I find something that looks like fascism or undue violence or something of that nature. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, they're fighting, lots of resisting, lots of people interfering. That's a mess. So all those people could get arrested for interfering with the arrest. She's resisting, they're resisting, so force is going to be applied to everybody involved. That's what's going to happen because everybody is resisting. whether or not we agree with it or not, that's it, and that's the entire clip. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. Another clip. Yep, we're going to keep doing this until I find the thing that looks like fascism. Now, let's see. Family demands asters. Okay, so we got lots of protests. Where's the actual incident at in hand? Are we just listening to people talking? Okay, here we go. Here's some actual footage of the ICE or police or whatever their agency is. I'm not sure. And that's it. That's all. The rest is just talking. Okay, well, no information there for me to look at. All right. This one's is a 6-year-old. Okay, this should be bad. Surely they're gonna body slam the 6-year-old and do all sorts of terrible stuff to them. I'm gonna see clips of that so I can be pissed off. Let's see. Okay, so stuff going on in court, people talking, Trump talking, people talking about him talking. And do I have any footage that's relevant to look at? Nope. So I don't see where this. I didn't even see the 6-year-old detained. So I don't know. Maybe they are. I have no idea. Maybe they have leukemia as well. Are they here illegally? Or is their family here illegally? Well, then they're going to get detained and something's going to happen to them. Again, whether we like that or not, whether we agree with it or not, that's the law. So, not examples of fascism. What else do we have? Okay, here's the other link. I got a lot of links, so you gotta bear with me, and then I'll look at chat because I'm ignoring chat for now. Oops, I believe that was the same clip I already looked. No, that's leading me to the same thing here. Okay, well, it might have been the same link more than once. I think that was a double post. Okay. All right. American citizen detained in Hollywood immigration raid. Okay, surely this is when we finally see the fascism at work. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, well, we've got somebody talking. All right. Okay, they're all on top of somebody. Why? I don't know. They cut away. Well, that doesn't help. All right, person talking, whatever. Okay, yes, show me the footage. I want to see it. What happened? All right, they're all on top of somebody. Maybe they resisted. Maybe not. I don't know. They didn't show us the whole thing. All right, and it looks like they might have resisted because usually you don't have. Oh, there's a guy, so it looks, well, it's kind of, is he fighting? Well, he got picked up. All right. And there he is talking, and okay, so, all right, well, they broke the window. They usually don't do that if for no reason. Usually they do that when you don't get out of your vehicle when they tell you to. Usually they give multiple warnings before doing so. So if you're not compliant, you're going to be made to comply. Don't see any fascism here. This is operational standard protocol as far as I can tell. Come on, show me something. Come on. Where is it? It's got to be something. Okay, well, he got hurt. Well, were you resisting? Looks like, you wouldn't have been on the ground if you weren't resisting, right? So, you might have been fighting back. You got some scratches. That's not too bad. I remember the Rodney King beatings. That was an example of something going wrong. Definitely. But that's not what I'm seeing here. No fascism so far. Just standard operating procedure. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, whether it makes us feel bad or not, completely and wholly irrelevant to our conclusion, which the argument being made is, here are examples of fascism. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for when that's supposedly the conclusion, but I think I would know it when I saw it. I like excess force being used, or I don't know, people just, being abused and not, cared for or whatever. Okay, so this is actually a similar clip to what was before, looks like. Same gal. So this is a repeat of what we already saw, and she was resisting, so we don't need to cover that. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. This is, wait, is that the same link? Yep, double post there. So here we go. Different video. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see. Senior zip tied. Oh, last. Finally, fascism in action. In Capitol Medicare protest, all hell breaks loose. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here's some senior citizens. They're chilling out in their little bikes there. Police are there for some reason. Don't know what the bleep are going on. Okay. Okay, so they're in zip ties. Okay, not sure why. We've got what people are saying that they did, but we don't see what happened. Okay, they're here in the Capitol Hill, and they've been arrested or detained at least. Okay. If they were told to leave and they did not leave, then you can arrest them. Now again, whether this is necessary or not, I'm not a police officer. I don't think that you need to handcuff somebody in a wheelchair, but they could have a weapon. But this is it's the Capitol Hill, a private building, it's public building, issue. But if you're told to leave and you don't leave, you can be detained, you can be arrested, and you will be taken away. Now, they feel like they can protest here, and perhaps they can. Oh, look, they're getting... Oh, well, he's reattaching it because he was uncomfortable. Not necessarily, probably for this person. Maybe that's a bit excessive. Maybe that's a little silly. So I can see... I don't know that that's fascism, but I do disagree with this. Okay, so I don't like that. So we need to do something to fix that. Okay. All right, so you got one thing there, but not necessarily fascism. Something perhaps to be worried about, concerned with. Did they really need to be zip tied? Probably not. You probably could have just wheeled them out. Why weren't they allowed to protest? I don't know. Maybe they needed a permit. Doesn't seem fair. So I think that is something worth complaining about, but not something that is fascism in my book. And that's the end of the clips. That what I was given. So my conclusion, based on what I've watched, is this is operational standard procedure. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, whether we want this to be or not, those are emotions. People have emotions about the illegal immigrant situation and what they are doing to them. I understand those emotions. I'm a skeptic. I take everything in the same way. I analyze everything the same way, whether it be religion or politics. That's why I'm apolitical. And normally I don't talk about politics because this is what will happen. People will think I'm on the other side, quote unquote. I'm not on any side. I'm on the side of logic. That's it. I'm not going to take a stance one way or the other. Whether this is appropriate or not, it's standard operating procedure. Whether you like that or not is irrelevant to what's going on. Is it fascism? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like fascism. In fact, if fascism was in effect, we wouldn't have the news at all. There wouldn't be any news outlets. That would be controlled. That's the first thing fascism tends to take away, is the ability of news to broadcast. So we wouldn't see anything going on if fascism was in effect. And then we would have reason to be worried. And videos would get taken down if fascism was in effect. So nobody would be allowed to say what was going on. And I would be taken down for talking about it, as well as anyone else that talked about it. So I don't see that we have fascism in effect. I see that people are being arrested, detained, and taken away. Whether we like that or not, agree with it or not, under emotional about it or not, that's the way it is. That's what's going on. And if you fight the police, you fight the ICE, you fight the feds, whatever, you resist, force is applied. That's it. So, you know, again, with the only video I saw of this that I didn't like was zip tying those older people. I don't know that that's necessary. I don't know the full context. Again, they were protesting, I guess, and then they were told to leave and they didn't leave. So then they were detained. I think that's silly. I think they went too far with it. Maybe they were tired that day. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe a lawsuit can be filed against them for doing that. That is something to be concerned about. I don't know that it's fascism. Some places you're not allowed to protest without a permit. Now, should we be allowed to protest anywhere without a permit? Maybe. Some places you're not allowed to gather to protest. Other places you are. And you got to check your city and county ordinances to see what is and isn't permitted. Again, these are all legal issues. These are all political issues. And whether we like it or not, however we feel about it, it must be separate. Now, again, I'll make it very clear. I'm apolitical. I don't care one way or the other. I'm not involved in the politics of it. If you want a political change, I can tell you how to get a political change. Money. That's it. Money's going to do it. And as a single individual, if you want change, then you're going to have to get involved with, an activist group that's actually doing something for real and not just pretending to do stuff. That's going to involve writing letters, writing emails, soliciting senators, and money, because you're going to have to throw money at the situation at some point to actually affect the change, and it's going to take a long time. Watch Harvey Milk, the movie just called Milk, for how little change can be made, but how change can be made. Now, Milk sadly got assassinated by somebody who probably was a closeted gay themselves, who probably self-hated. Many famous leaders of change seem to get assassinated. Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Malcolm X. Now, Malcolm had a different tactic than Jr. did. Jr.'s action seemed to work very long term. Malcolm X's tactics maybe worked in the short term. He certainly got noticed, which was good. He certainly got a message out, which was good. But it seems to me that the peaceful tactics work long term, whereas the non-peaceful tactics don't necessarily work long term. Now, maybe that's not true across the board, but if I was going to be an activist, I would use the peaceful method, even though I know that it would take time. And even though if I happened to be the leader of that movement, I would certainly fear for my life. But if I believe in the cause, I would do it. I'm not that person. I'm not going to lead a charge or revolt unless I absolutely have to. By and large, there are things I disagree with that are law. Many things I wish I could change. I'm not that person. Things are upsetting. Things are worrisome. And if you look at content and you aren't skeptical, you might begin to believe stuff, or maybe you already believe stuff, and watching the content furthers your belief. And maybe the news outlets know this and are hoping that you are doing that so that they get your views and thus some ad revenue from your view. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's worth thinking about. So, setting the emotions aside, as I hope we've all done in this chat, which I'll now look at for the first time since I started this broadcast, and see what kind of result I have. Oh, I'm sure that I've not upset anybody at all. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Can I, Barbara? Can I say let's talk about the malcontents? These malcontents were running this country. That is a different subject. So no, we cannot talk about that. Uh-oh, am I getting canceled? I don't know. Can I come in? Sorry, I didn't. Like I said, I wasn't really looking. Let's talk. Yeah. You do not know that he is there illegally. Is that correct? Regarding the elders that were there protesting, I don't know if they were there illegally or not. But when you're in any location, if you're told to leave, you leave. So that's all I know. Let's see. Fascism is not arrests. Okay. What about the friends charging in? Yes. Let's see. Fascism is an authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization. Okay. These arrests are due to a political movement. Are they? It is a right-wing political movement and very authoritarian. Thus, the term fascism applies. Well, this now presents you with the problem of the burden of proof. If you want to prove all these things true, then you're free to do so. That would require an essay and or a valid and sound argument and citations needed. Given what citations I've had already on this short video, I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical that you would provide actual citations to actual information that would lead me to the conclusion that you want me to be led to. But I'm happy to be wrong. Send me what you got. Use the best argument that you have. And let's see. We are listening to you talk. Why? Because we hear what you're saying with someone else. Their words have no value. It was just because I was not listening to what the news reports were saying. I don't care what the news reports are saying. They're saying whatever the bleep they're saying. All I was interested in is the actual arrest taking place. That's the data. I'm looking at the data. I'm not listening to the people at that moment. And as far as the people being interviewed after the fact, that's personal testimony. So it's irrelevant to me in that case. Been watching for a bit. Don't you take you for one that deep throats the entire boot? Okay. Do you need to look at all the evidence in every particular case in order to have an opinion? Yes. You are judging the clips. Yes, because that's what a skeptic does. You don't know he resisted, do you? In almost every video except for maybe one, it looked like resist to me. So yes. Would there be any good reason disabled people should be zip tied? I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what the procedures are. If that's the procedure, then that's the procedure. Whether we agree with the procedure or not, that's the procedure. So that's what they did. I don't like it. But if that's what their policy is, then fine. If not, then those people can sue and maybe some change can be made that way. Let's see. Okay, this is an appeal to the minority of one. I did X thing and never had to do Z. Okay. That doesn't mean that it's not necessary to do at some time. Your experience is one dot on the chart of all the charts. So your personal experience doesn't apply. It is a data point. Yeah. I've never seen a walking person sit in a wheelchair. Yeah. Well, yeah, that can happen. I mean, they're old, so I don't think that they're pretending to be old and in wheelchairs, but, I don't know the full context of that. Videos do get taken down all the time for various reasons. That does happen, yes. But my point is, if we were under fascism, there would be no videos talking about any of this or politics at all. You wouldn't be allowed to say anything against the president. And I'm pretty sure I've heard people say all sorts of things about the president. So I don't think we're in fascism yet. So I'm talking out of my ass. Okay, that's great. Not an argument. Let's see. I'm being way too reasonable now. Gotta watch after the live. Okay. I don't know the context, but claim I do. That's not good reasoning. I didn't claim to know the context. I'm watching what's happening. I'm watching what little is being provided. We see the person is being arrested. We see them resist arrest. We see force be applied. Standard operational protocol that you can watch on any police videos. Like I said, I've been watching this Midwest Safety, and there's a couple of videos where the police officer did wrong, but for the most part, you like I said, you start to see some patterns of how people resist and what people say when they're resisting, and so I suspect that their training is to prepare them for that. So Midwest Safety, I'll just go ahead and link their channel because there. Okay, the people were disabled, so you're still talking about that particular event. I don't know what happened there, and like I said, that's the only one. That's the only thing I saw that was distasteful. But I don't know the full situation. I don't know why they were detained. I don't know what the standard operating procedure is. It might be that if somebody doesn't leave the building when you tell them, that you put them in zip ties. That's standard operating procedure. And so imagine you're getting a paycheck and you take an oath to uphold certain standard and you're told, do your job. And hey, it's a 7-year-old kid who's protesting and refused to leave. And you're like, well, do I get fired or do I do my job? Well, I guess I'm going to do my job and put the kid in plastic zip ties and haul him off because that's standard operating procedure. Now, after I do that, I'm going to complain to my captain and say, hey, I don't like this. I think this sucks. My captain might say, too bad. Or they might, lodge it as a thing. I could go to the news and say, hey, look, we've got this standard operating procedure. And so far, we've not had to use it, but it's going to go wrong at some point. And the news could report it. And maybe it would get changed then. Or maybe you'll get fired, or maybe both. Again, don't know the full situation. Did they need to be put in zip ties? I don't think so. But if that's standard operating procedure, then that's what's going to happen. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, is independent of whether it is the legal thing to do. I did comment on the man telling a story with no video of the man resisting. Yeah, I did comment. And I said I didn't see anything, so I can't make any conclusion because I didn't see what was going on. That was that. So I've been, I'm doing my job as a skeptic. I don't know what else I can tell you. The big man with the chain. So, okay. So I think that, again, I don't like talking politics stuff. I'm only doing this because I respect Brooklyn Lulu the skeptic, because he has the word skeptic in his name. Now, if and when I make mistakes, I expect people to point them out to me. I hope that people do. People do all the time. That's fine. I learn from it. I go, okay, what's wrong? Right. If Brooklyn Lou's skeptics' conclusion is this is fascism, I am skeptical of that conclusion based on the evidence provided. In fact, I would say the evidence provided doesn't show anything other than standard operating procedure. So if Lou wants to make a valid and sound argument that we are living in fascism, I hope he does. I would be interested in hearing that. I look forward to listening to that video and or reading the syllogism and or essay style, depending on how he does it, and looking at every single link. And if he convinces me, then I will say, hey, we're in a fascist country, everyone. It's time to panic, and here's what we're going to do, and try to figure out how to fix the situation. But based on this, I can't agree with the conclusion. So there you go. So yeah. And then Lou wants to join. Okay, let's go back. All right, let's go back. Let's see. All right. I've been accused of a fallacy. We'll see what you said. Oops.
Or seen news where they show women being thrown on the ground and tossed into a van by masked men with guns?
Okay, hold on. We're going to pause for a moment here. Okay, name of the video. Question everything. Is this part of a longer video that I'm being stupid about because it's a short? It's possible I'm being an idiot and not clicking the full video here. If so, all of this might be irrelevant. Let's see. No, that's a different video, I think. Okay. Anyways, so it says, fascism sucks. Have you seen this? So that implies fascism is occurring. Otherwise, it wouldn't say fascism sucks on the video here or in the text here. So certainly implied, if not outright said. Okay, so what was actually said? Uh-oh.
Thrown on the ground and tossed by masked men with guns.
I can't turn it up. I don't know.
Is that good?
I hate these. Why? Why must you do this, YouTube? There we go.
America? Please tell me yes or no in the comments. Is that going on in America? And is that an appropriate way to treat a woman who is here illegally? Is that appropriate? Yes or no? Has anyone here watched or seen news?
Okay, so whoopsie. All right, so Brooklyn Lou, it appears that you did not say that this is fascism. However, the video does imply that with its text. So I will offer my formal retraction of my statement that you're making an argument that this is indeed fascism, and also add my official and sincere apology to you for claiming that you were saying that this is fascism when that was implied, not directly stated. As such, my hypothesis that this was to prove to me something, it appears to be an error, and thus my analysis also must be discarded. Again, I can do nothing else other than apologize for that, but perhaps I would suggest labeling the video in a way that doesn't suggest that it is fascism that I'm supposed to be looking for, that might help me in the future. I only analyzed it because I respect the bleep out of you, and I want to hold you in the same regard as I do all skeptics, which is applying the skeptical method, which I didn't think you were doing, but since you weren't saying that it's fascism outright, perhaps you were, and I was overzealous in my approach. But because I am happy to have my mistakes on display for all, I'll leave this video up. Unless you ask me to take it down for some reason, Lou, I will be glad to do it as you so request. Are you the one who decides how I label videos? No, Lou, you are. You can label your video however you want. If you want to label it as clickbait and be liar, you're welcome to do that. But if you do, then I will analyze it and point out the fallacies as I see fit. So, your move. I will treat this as I treat everything, with skepticism. And I will draw the line there. And I hope that that does not, and I hope that this is taken as it should be, as a skeptic talking to a skeptic, and that it is understood at that level. So, if not, so be it. At any rate, there you go. I hate politics. And yeah, being a skeptic's hard sometimes. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. We're now determined that I'm able to label videos the way I want. Yeah, sure. If you want to label your videos as clickbait, misinformation, or outright lies, you're certainly welcome to do so. And if and when you do, I will point it out. That's what this video was about. So, are you saying that this is fascist, or are you just implying it? Because I already offered my apology in full retraction. Do I have to undo that now? I don't know. It's up to you.